Hi, my name is Natasha,
And my name is Cory.
and we are not afraid, and this is our podcast.
This is our podcast about horror movies and television shows and just the genre in general. We are big fans from our youth, I suppose,
Yeah,
and now into adulthood.
yeah, we love watching horror movies and television shows and series that kind of give us the heebie-jeebies. Well, tries to
Well,
anyway.
that's the problem, right? They don't give us the heebie jeebies anymore.
That's
There's no
right.
boogie woogie, and there's no keeping us up
That's
late at night.
that's right. No running up the stairs because you're afraid someone's behind you, but really there's not. But so we're gonna just introduce ourselves a little bit. I'll let Corey go first since he's the oldest.
Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. That just means I have more experience.
Okay, you keep telling yourself that.
Yeah, okay. So my name's Corey. I am from Hamilton, Ontario, and horror movies have been in my life since I was very young. I remember watching my very first horror movie. I don't know if it was from beginning to end or not, but the first horror movie I remember watching was Halloween
That's a
2.
good one.
And the original Halloween 2, not the second one, which was not so good. Halloween 2 scared the living shit out of me. Uh, I was only, I don't know how old I was, if I was in grade one.
Now, was it because of the suspense or was it because of Michael Myers?
Well, Michael Myers is definitely one of the top horror characters of all
Agreed.
time. And
Agreed.
he's been in so many movies that have been really good or really bad,
Mhm.
depending on your opinion. But Halloween 2 was the one that got me because the hospital scene. So Michael stalking people in a hospital late at night, there's nobody around. So
Mhm.
that always got me really scared
Yeah.
of hospitals my whole life.
Yeah.
So it took a long time before I actually wound up watching horror movies again. And throughout the 80s was the big boom of
It was.
the stalkers, right?
There
The
was a lot of
slashers.
good slasher movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
If you watch them today, it doesn't hold up,
No,
but
they're pretty comical
they
today.
are, yes. Now, when you remember watching Halloween 2, did the gore and the killing did it affect you, or was it just because you never knew when Michael would be there, or the the uncertainty of like when is he going to pop up again?
That's a
For
good
him
question.
catching up to us because he apparently has
Well,
superhuman strength.
he can power walk better than anyone. I mean, if that's an Olympic sport, Michael's winning that for sure.
Definitely.
But when I was that age and the home that I lived in,
Hmm.
I actually had a basement bedroom.
Oh,
And I was down there by myself, young, very young, 5, 6, 7
right.
years old, right?
Hmm.
And you had to run up the stairs every time because you didn't know if someone was behind you.
And was it those stairs where you could see through, like those
No, they
wooden
were
ones
not.
where a hand can just grab your ankle? Those are the worst.
That is definitely terrifying, but no, it wasn't like that at
Run
all. In
up those
fact,
damn stairs.
the staircase came down into the basement, and the bedroom door was directly across from the bottom of the stairs. So oftentimes I would leap
Hmm.
from the last step and not even touch the floor right into the bedroom because if you touch the floor, you're dead. They're coming for you.
It's like another version of lava floor, right?
Yeah, yeah, the floor is lava.
Yeah. That's a good one. Halloween 2 is pretty intense. That series is pretty, they've remade it a couple of times, but or yeah, a couple of
Yeah,
times. Rob
three
Zombie and
different
then another one.
versions pretty much.
It's never really disappointed me when I watched all of them. Even the Rob Zombie one, I know there's a lot of talk about it, but I really liked them, and I really liked how they went through all the different storylines, or they changed a few things. But yeah, Halloween is definitely a good memory to have.
So, what is your first memory of watching horror
My
movies?
first memory was one of my brothers, and I can't remember who it was. I think it was my oldest brother. He brought home from the video store, and I'm dating myself here.
And it was
Uh,
probably one of those video stores that was like in the convenience store, the dépanneur.
it probably was. So Dépanneur is convenience store in Quebec. I'm originally from Quebec, um, and now living in Hamilton. And my first memory was watching Friday the 13th, the first one, and
The
it was
first one without Jason or with Jason?
uh
Was
with Jason.
so Jason appeared in Friday the 13th Part 2
Sorry, not Friday the
as the main
13th.
killer.
Not Friday the 13th. Freddy Krueger.
Oh,
Nightmare on Elm Street.
oh,
I'm
Nightmare on
sorry.
Elm Street.
Nightmare on
Okay.
Elm Street, and with Johnny Depp. And I remember
Okay, that's the very first
that's
one.
the very
Yeah.
first one. And he brought it home, and my parents had no idea what these kinds of movies
Oh
were.
my
My
god, I
parents
can
are
only
immigrants. They're
imagine.
first generation immigrants.
Yes.
They didn't understand these horror things that we would want to watch because my brothers and I were pretty. We like, well, my oldest brother and I love these kinds of things. My other brother does not. But so the first memory I have is him bringing it home, all of us kind of sitting in front of the TV on our couch, uh, and it comes on, and right away my mom is very religious, very old school, and she didn't want to watch it, so she left and went to the other room to watch
Oh,
other
I'm
TV.
hoping that one day we can get your mom
My mom would
to
never watch
watch
it.
one of these
she,
movies.
she will probably hurt
It
you.
will be priceless.
And that's my first memory of watching Nightmare on Elm Street, and watching that scene where he comes out of the bed and just grabs on to, I don't remember who it was, I think it was Johnny Depp, grabs onto him and pulls him into the bed. And that was like
Oh,
the
yes.
worst because I'm like laying in
I
bed
remember that
after
one.
watching this, being like, I'm not going to sleep. I am not going to sleep. So I think that's where my love for horror movies came from. Because even when I was a teenager in the 90s, these paranormal shows came out. So my first one that I can remember is Paranormal State with Ryan Buell and Katrina Wildman and all the other cast and special little mediums that now when I see them on TV, I kind of like get like, oh, I know this guy, Chip Coffey and Michelle Belanger, and those really solidified my love for the paranormal and the study of demons and all this stuff, and I till this day love watching those, and I sometimes watch the
So,
reruns.
do you find that paranormal shows, ghost hunting shows, stuff like that, do you find them scary or do you just find them like intriguing? Like, do you just hope someday they'll actually
Yeah,
capture something
it's a
serious and
yeah,
legitimate?
I really hope that one day that we do have a show where, and there has been some shows where they do capture this significant voice or this like unexplained anomaly, or this like figure in a picture that they can't
Yeah.
explain, and they try to debunk, and there's some shows out there that really try to show the real stuff. Now, are they real, are they not?
Well, that's the question
Right?
because Hollywood could easily fake these things,
Yes.
but
You know,
I
you can
mean,
have a cameraman do a voice in the background and claim he didn't do it.
well,
It's
the
just
shows aren't live, so anything can be edited in post production.
exactly. So it's really hard for people to actually claim that it's real or not real.
Right,
Do I choose to believe at that moment that it's real? Yes, because I want to be immersed in the show. I want to, you know, feel what they're feeling. And
right.
the thing is, it's fear, it's intrigue, it's it's a lot of stuff that kind of builds it up. But yeah, so that's my where my love of horror comes from, and me being a curious person wanting to know about the unknown and what's out there kind of um, feeling, right?
Right.
But here's a good question for you. What scares you? What about a horror movie scares you?
That's a tough question because I feel like I've been so desensitized over the
Yeah,
years.
we
Um,
both have. Yeah.
Blood and gore and stuff like that. You see stuff like that on regular television. Like
Yeah.
television shows are
Which is sad.
extremely gory and
Yeah.
violent. And I mean, you watch The Walking Dead, and it seems like this stuff shouldn't be shown on television, but it's not scary.
Mhm.
And
To us.
to us, I mean, like my biggest fear in life is likely being trapped in a room full of snakes or something like that. So I'll never watch Snakes on a Plane
It wasn't that
because
good.
I ain't getting on no
My opinion.
motherfucking plane with the motherfucking snakes, you know?
Yeah.
And I know that you're the same way. You don't
Yeah.
want to watch a movie with killer clowns.
No.
So those are the
God, no.
things that really scare us on a different level. But
Yeah.
those are more um, phobias that we
Yes.
have in real life and not
Yes.
necessarily um,
Yeah.
something that a movie can
Yeah.
scare you. I do find movies like The Nun to be um, not scary in the sense that I can't
It's
sleep at
creepy.
night, but it's very
It's
creepy,
creepy.
and the
It's
atmosphere is
yeah.
really well done.
Yeah.
Um,
It's that like uh, not even the jump scares. It's more of chilling, more of it gets you really in the
the
feels.
anticipation of something happening.
Yeah, but not just that, just like the storyline, the whole history of it. It kind of builds up and then it makes you, for me anyways, because I'm I have a religious background where those things kind of affect me more than they do you,
Yeah,
where I believe in like the demons and the spirits and the all that stuff. So it affects me differently than it does you. So that stuff for me is scary. Like clowns are scary. I hate clowns.
yeah.
You will come up with an episode about clowns at one point, and I'll explain my fear. It's really not rational, but it's still there. But that is where my fear comes from, is the more religious aspect of it, of demons and like being possessed and the devil and the Christianity of it, the evil spirits. Those things scare me
You
more.
know, it's funny. As you're explaining that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here thinking about what scares me, and I think it would never in a million years be considered part of the horror genre, but it's a situation such as Castaway. To me, that would be terrifying.
But there's that.
To crash land in the ocean, be stranded on an island for
Yeah.
how many years with no
Yeah.
one, no companion, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You're losing your mind,
Yeah.
and it's just a descent into madness. And to
Yeah.
me, that's scary.
That's but it's not horror. It's more of like a thriller slash.
And that is too
I
being
don't know.
stalked by an unknown assailant. You're
Yeah.
a movie such as Hush, with the deaf lady that's
Mm-hmm.
in her home
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of nowhere, of
Yeah.
course, as always, and her friends and neighbors live too far away to help.
Right.
And there's a psychopath outside her
Yeah.
house trying to get in, and
Okay.
she has no clue.
So what does those types of movie make the movie scary? Is it being stalked? Is it not having anyone around you for safety? Is it
Yeah,
like
I think
what are those
it's the
for
lack
you?
of safety.
Lack of
It's
safety? Yeah.
um, the survival fight or flight instincts that
Mm.
kick in, and that if you're ever in that situation yourself,
Mhm.
that adrenaline gets flowing, that
Mhm.
that need to survive,
Yeah.
and that in itself is a scary situation to be
Yeah.
in.
I think those movies are more terrifying than your average ghost story or your average like paranormal activity like reality movie as they call it. Those are not terrifying. They're just made for jump scares. They're really not terrifying. But when you watch a movie where you're out in the middle of nowhere and you get stalked or there's a haunting in the house, poltergeist or whatever, those to me are more terrifying than anything else because there's nowhere to go. Don't run into the forest. Don't run upstairs. That's like the number one rule. And then there's, and what do you do? Right? Like,
Yeah,
how do you survive this? And that's for me, that's the scary part of it. Here's another question. How do you like to watch these movies? Do you like to watch it at like the theater? Do you like staying at home? Do you like other people there? Snacks? No snacks? Drinks? No
definitely like
drinks?
snacks, and I definitely like drinks. But as far as watching a movie,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm not a visual snob, so I don't have to have if I'm watching it at home. I don't have to watch a movie in like perfect surround sound
Yeah.
and picture quality, and
Yeah.
I don't even keep up with that, so I don't even know what they're called, the 4K and all that shit. But there are people that are
LED.
like that, and they
Yeah.
will not watch a movie
Yeah.
unless it's presented that way. And
Mm-hmm.
um, so I'll watch a movie in any form.
Yeah.
I do like watching a horror movie in a theater only because I like to see the response of other people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So nowadays theaters aren't as populated as they used to be,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
even
Unfortunately.
still, like when there's jump scares in a movie and people are you see people's heads bobbing up and down, they're
Mm-hmm. The
scared,
screams.
and stupid us, we sit there and we laugh. Like
Yes,
why
we
are we
do.
laughing at the jump scares and the kills when other people are like
Terrified.
visually scared? You can
Yeah.
see the fear response in
Yeah.
other people. So I like that.
Yeah.
That's why like if I hear someone say, "Oh, I don't like scary movies," I say, "I want to watch one with you."
Yeah. Because you
So
want to see
I
the
do want to
reaction.
see
Yeah.
people watch these movies
Yeah.
and see their responses
Yeah.
and things like that.
Yeah.
So if that opportunity arises,
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Corey and I will be watching a movie and there's like a jump scare or something that's scary and everybody else is reacting and like he said we laugh at it or I look at him like oh were we supposed to be afraid on that like
Yeah, there's like no response from
no
us. And it's like,
I'm
oh, actually, I was waiting for that to happen.
yeah
You know?
we anticipated because Hollywood doesn't do a very good job of making you not know it's coming. So you can hear the music change. You can see that the everyone starts getting quiet. There's certain telltale signs that kind of tell you something's about to happen, and that's where I'm like, I wish we had a movie today where it was complete surprise, or the creepy aspect of a movie gets you where the back of your like the back of your head those little tiny hairs stick up. That for me is like
You
the
know,
best movie.
so that sort of thing, I'm sure there's movies out there
Mm.
that do that for people
For
still,
people,
but
yeah.
like 25 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
the Blair Witch Project came out,
Oh god.
and that changed cinema like
Yeah.
in major ways.
Did, yes.
And there was no visual
No.
killer or bad guy or
Yeah, it was
terror. It
filmed
was the
handheld. Yeah.
fear that the kids had
Mm-hmm.
of being lost and
Yeah.
being alone and being isolated and
And
separated
stalked.
from each other, and the feeling they were being
Mm-hmm.
stalked. And but were they? Was there really someone out there? We never found out. We never
No.
really knew
No.
what it was, and it was all left to your imagination.
It
And that
was.
was the type of movie that changed the genre. Now you look
Mm-hmm.
back at it now, and it doesn't really hold up, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. See, I like watching movie. I don't mind watching movie with the people. However, I do not like, and this is for any kind of movie or show, where someone constantly talks or is asking questions, especially if it's a new movie, like no one's seen it, like I haven't seen it, and
So
you're constantly
I have to
asking.
do that.
And it's like my biggest pet peeve. You will get the death stare from me. And
But for me, I was assessed as a logical thinker, an analytical thinker. So I'm kind of analyzing it as I'm watching it. And I'm
right.
not asking you a question about something you've never seen before because I
Hmm.
think you know
The
the answer.
answer,
I'm just
right.
asking your opinion.
I
Oh,
know.
what do you think's going to
I
happen?
know. And I'm like,
What's
can you
your
just
opinion
watch
on
the
this?
damn movie?
And it's like, no, I like to analyze it as I'm watching it, but that's just me.
And we get into like arguments. I'm like, can you just watch the movie? It's my first time watching it. Now I missed like 5 minutes because I'm arguing with you. It's just it's that's my only thing with watching with other people is people who talk through it. And everyone in my family does it. It's like I've had cousins do it. I've had my mom is like the top person that does it. You do it. Or I just like to watch a movie in complete silence. Once in a while, commentary is fine, but to constantly ask the question, that is like my biggest pet
Well, that's not going to change because
peeve. I
that's just
know.
how I am.
I just have to compromise, right?
Oh, yes, you do.
All right. So, okay, let's go. So, what do you dislike about horror movies? What is something you hate when they do in a horror movie or scary movie or whatever
Hmm.
movie? I have one.
What?
When they put too much gore. I think a horror
No.
movie doesn't need so much gore. Like,
I think it does, depending on the
really?
movie.
No, you know what? It.
If you're watching a torture porn movie like Saw or Hostel or a zombie
Then
movie,
there shouldn't be
then yeah, you're going to
classified
get
as
lots of blood
horror.
and gore.
They should be classified as gore movies and not horror. This is where I'm
Well,
like,
there's many subgenres of horror
I
movies
know.
we're going to get
I'm
into.
the
Don't
type
worry.
where I don't mind a good gore. Like once in a while, like for Halloween, the new ones when Jason just went on a rampage and killed
Who?
everyone. Not Jason. Sorry, I'm getting my
Yeah, that's
people
right.
mixed up. Michael Meyer when he starts killing everyone and I, you're expecting that, and there's a little bit of gore and there's blood and there's, but when it gets to too extreme, like I watched Saw 1 and 2 and I refuse to watch anything after that
Well, I believe
because
there's 11 of them now.
they
So you're going
that's
to have to
great.
go through them.
They're not going to be watched by me. It's just it's unnecessarily gory and it's not my type of movie. And those movies I will never get into. For me they're not horror or scary or they're just gross.
You know what really bothers me?
Hmm.
A movie that you're really invested in and it's got
Mm.
your attention
Yes.
and the storyline is moving
I know where you're going
along
with this.
and it's a mystery, it's suspenseful, and then it just ends out of the blue.
Horribly. Just
And you're left sitting there
horribly.
wondering, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And the first thing that comes to mind was a TV series we watched, I think last year, a year ago, 2 years ago on Netflix called The Watcher. Do you remember that one? So
Yes.
it was really good. Family was being stalked. There were letters being
Letters
sent, and
and
it's a big mystery. You're trying to figure out what's
who they
happening,
are, yeah.
and then the series just ended
Hmm.
with no resolution.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're making season two or not. It's been a while.
Hmm.
With these things on Netflix, you never know
Hmm.
how long it takes.
Yeah.
But if there is no second season
And how do you
to
know it
follow up,
ends,
then
right?
you've just wasted how many episodes? Eight
Yeah.
episodes, 10 episodes,
Yeah.
1 hour. You just wasted 10 hours of your
I
life
know.
watching this shit
Yeah.
with one question:
Well,
what the hell is
it's
this?
it's just like and I know a lot of people and I'm not shitting on this director or whatever. M Night Shyamalan. I
Yes,
cannot watch his movies. I
they're
watched The
tough.
Village and I was so invested in that
The
movie.
Village, yes.
And when it came to the end, I was like, WTF, what just happened? Did he seriously just end it in that note? And if you haven't seen that movie and you want to be disappointed, please watch it.
Well, the only good thing is it gave us Bryce Dallas Howard. So,
Listen,
hey,
listen.
she's a big shot in Star Wars now, so that's even better.
I just don't. I'm with you on this. I don't like a movie that you're or show that you're invested in, and you've given your 2 hours, and then they ended in a way that you're just like, it didn't explain anything. It didn't tie the whole movie together. It didn't loop back to points that were very important, and you're stuck there going, well, okay, so what happens next? And I guess it's like you gotta, it's up to the viewers like own imagination.
Yeah,
But damn it,
and maybe some people do like those
we
types of
don't.
movies, but
That's not our thing.
that's not
We
working for this guy.
That's not working for this girl either. So our last question, and I'm gonna ask you is, and then I'll answer is, what is this is a loaded question. What is your favorite movie or series? And give me the reason why.
Oh, that's tough.
Or one of the one that comes to mind, new or old.
I guess it would have to go back to being what's the most rewatchable that something you always go back
Right.
to, which would lead it to being your favorite. I
Mm-hmm.
think one of the most rewatchable horror series of recent memory is the Conjuring universe
Yes, they're
for
really
us,
good.
for me.
If you haven't
I
seen
I
it,
can say Friday the
mm,
13th and Halloween are a close
yeah,
second and third.
yeah.
I love watching those,
Mm-hmm.
but even Friday the 13th now I watch it more for comedic value. you know,
Yes.
Jason X, I absolutely love it, but
This
people
horrible
hate
movie, by
that
the way.
movie, but I
Horrible
love
movie.
it. But yeah, the Conjuring universe,
Mm-hmm.
whether you watch them all in order or you just
Mm-hmm.
watch one off,
Yeah.
it always seems to get you in a certain way. That's one series I find
Mm-hmm.
does kind of leave you a little heebie-jeebie
Yeah.
feelings, you
Yeah.
know?
For me, my favorite so far has been um there's two. The Conjuring universe, I'm with you on that. I loved Conjuring number 2 when they go to England. I don't know why. The creepy aspect of it, and the it makes your skin feel goosebumpy, and your
Mm-hmm.
back of your neck, your hairs stick up when you know something's about
The
to happen. It's
the
that
Crooked Man.
yeah, when that song
Oh, that's
comes
so
on,
creepy.
you're like, oh. But
And you know what's gonna happen, and you know he's gonna pop out, but you're anticipating it,
yeah,
and it's
it's like that
still
stupid
creepy.
little toy that you
Yeah.
that little like
Uh
pop
huh.
up thing. That I used to hate that. And but the one that I can think of is called The Right with Anthony Hopkins, and you haven't watched it yet, but we're gonna watch it together, and you'll understand what I mean. For me, again, like I said earlier, religious movies, stuff about demons and devils, and like the creepy, like the angels and all that. That for me gets me every time. Every time something comes out, I usually like want to watch it, like The Exorcist and the new one that came out with what's that guy's name? Russell Crowe. That
Yeah,
was a
Russell
good one.
Crowe,
The Pope's
the Pope's
Exorcist. That was a good one.
Exorcist.
But The Right, that one still gives me the heebie-jeebies, and for
All
me,
right,
that one is one of my
then we're
favorites.
gonna have to check it out.
Well, you have to. So this is our podcast. We will be talking about different topics in every episode, and we'll try to do one every week.
Yeah,
Try. This is our first podcast of all time, so we'll do our best to keep you entertained as much as we can.
and with this genre of entertainment,
There's a lot
there's
to talk about.
never nothing to talk about.
There's a lot to
There's
talk
lots
about.
to talk.
Yeah.
So that's it. I'm Corey,
And I'm Natasha.
and
We
we
are
are
not
not
afraid, and
afraid.
we'll work on that, by the way. So more to come.
All
Thanks,
right,
everyone. Have a great day.
peace.